Hello and welcome to Driving Questions. My guest in the carpool is Candace Pauchnick from San Diego.
Yes.
I've just heard you're a rock star, and I wanted to find out. What it is you're doing that's getting so much attention.
Well, I think, passionate about the whole ePal project, and I love connecting my students with students around the world. And when I connect my students, I am also connecting myself with other teachers. And by me expanding to other colleagues, it makes me a better teacher. I think when a teacher's isolated in a classroom, it's dangerous.
I love it. I always say that you shouldn't be an educational detached retina. You need to connect to the world. And what I love that you talked about is that, okay, so your students connect with the kids around the world and learn, but you learned too. Talk a little bit about how empowering that is.
Just for example, Professor Chen in China, I've connected with him for 4 years, and he has taught me so much about technology. He's on the cutting edge of new technology all the time. I'd say probably, it's not an exaggeration, probably every 1 to 2 weeks he introduces a new program to me. And I'm always smiling because he's just always learning new things. And one of his secrets is he knows so many people. He's introduced me, and I'm not exaggerating on this, I tease him, I think he knows everyone in the world, but I've probably met maybe 100, maybe 150 other teachers through him. There's a program, teachers called Webheads, and they're literally all over the world, and he's a part of that program. He's introduced me to that one. He just knows so many people, and when I've gone on chat sessions with him, there's always somebody new. And through the new person, I'm learning new things also. So he's expanded my horizons tremendously, and that's just one small area. It makes me motivated to be the best teacher I can be.
You've been growing a personal learning network through him.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you though, let's go back a little ways. How did you find him in the first place?
Through the ePal company.
Describe though that process. Was you on there one evening looking around?
I've actually connected to a lot of countries, and I've belonged to the ePal company for about 6 years. And so I've connected to, my first country was the Czech Republic, Ukraine. I did those for a couple of years. I've connected with Italy, Uzbekistan, Romania, Colombia, France, Germany, and several times in Germany in different years, France, different years. It's hard for me to just think off the top of my head how many different countries. But with Yaodong in China, he's been my longest connection, and he knows so much technology. And I think through him, and he knows so many people, I feel like through his connection, I've really grown probably the most, just because he's growing so much, and through his growing, I'm growing.
Okay, we skipped a step.
Oh,
what do you teach?
I teach human psychology and sociology, and it's a sociology connection where my students are required to learn about other countries. And I used to, a long time ago, take them in the library, and they'd have to go into a encyclopedia, and they would have to learn the old-fashioned way. And once I learned about the ePal company and how they can connect with a real person, it just blossomed. The students were just thriving to learn about other cultures. And I connect students of the same age, relatively speaking, so they all have the same interests, and they're just totally excited over that. And I call it the popcorn experience, when they receive emails in the classroom, and they'll exclaim with excitement, "Oh, I got an email," and somebody else on the other side of the room, "Oh, I got an email too," and another one, "Oh, I just got one," and it's like this popcorn of excitement.
Sure, I like that popcorn experience. Describe anything that you've done, let's say with Mr. Chen, is that right? What's a project look like?
Well, we've done different things, and we've done some web conferencing, and that's exciting because they get to see their ePal, and they always like to see and those facial expressions and hear their voices. That's like the frosting on the cake. But before that, just writing back and forth, I think the first incredible surprise is that, wow, these people are just like me. And that's, I think, the revelation. The Chinese students, of course, they are very Americanized. A lot of them are, and they eat American food, they dress in American clothes, they watch American movies, and they read American books. One of my ePals, a student's ePal, said her favorite book was Gone with the Wind. And that's a pretty thick book, and they're reading these in English. And my students said, wow, they can speak English so well. And my students are saying, oh, they study so hard. Oh, they take school so seriously. gee, maybe we better start being serious too. And they think that we need to improve our study habits. So they are really assimilating some of the Chinese culture in the seriousness of school.
Okay, when you get up in the morning and you're excited to get to work, what is the gas in your tank?
You're saying like what motivates me to get up and go. And I think number one is I feel the greatest sensation when I feel I made a difference in my students' lives and when they feel that they've been enriched. And I've had students write me later after they've graduated and they say that my class made a difference in their life. And I've actually had students, I had one girl whose family actually went to Italy to meet her ePal, and that really was amazing. They felt that that expanded their horizons. But more than anything, I think any teacher would say if they make a difference in their student's life and they make them feel like school is valuable, school is real, school made a difference, and they can see how it really makes their life valuable in the future. And also for my master's degree, I did a study on how does the ePal experience change a student. And it does. I've proven it with statistics and tests and surveys and people who didn't have ePals and people who did, that having ePals does make them more culturally sensitive. They become more ethno-relative. If somebody's ethno-centric, it means that they think their culture is the center of the universe. But if they become ethno-relative, they see the value of other cultures and that they are part of the whole. So my students, for example, started seeing the value of the Chinese culture, and they can see, for example, the bonding of the family. And my students were saying we need to adopt some of the Chinese traditions. We need to do some of the things that the Chinese do. We need to have our family unity as strong as theirs, because they saw the value in that. And they have, in China, they have so many more traditions. And even something simple like their names all have meanings, and my students were impressed with that. One of my students looked up the name of what her English name meant, and she struggled, and I don't know if it was real, but it was something about loading a truck or something. It had no special meaning, but in China, every name has a special meaning, and they like that too. There's history with their traditions, and my students saw a lot of value in that.
So you're opening up the world for these kids.
It's like my classroom doesn't have any walls.
That sounds like a goal that we should all aspire toward.
Yes.
Thank you for talking to me.
Well,
So if I yell at you sometime, will you talk to me again?
I'd love to.
Because I use Skype. I don't know if you use Skype,
Oh,
but I do a
yes.
lot of Skype interviews.
That's what we did, the Skype with Chinese ePals, and we use Skype for our web conference.
Well, if you're ever doing something you want to talk about, give me a
Thank
yell
you.
and talk about it.
Thank you. It's fun. I appreciate being able to talk to you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you.
Where was the camera?